Hi there, everyone. My goodness, a few little technical issues. I'm just going to give this a moment. I'm jumping on my computer, which is not ideal. So I'm just sort of waiting for this to come on. All right. Hey guys, I'm hoping this is live and I'm hoping that you can hear me. Hoping that I'm on the right page here. I could be on my own. No, I'm on Redhead. Perfect. So if you guys are jumping on, just wanted to give this a few moments. I know I'm starting a little bit later, but that's okay. Hopefully you guys are all there. So I'm just asking if anybody is here to send me a comment or a thumbs up before I get started so that I know that you guys are on. So I'm just going to give this a few moments. Again, if you are jumping on, as I said, I'm jumping onto my computer as my phone is not letting me jump on. So please let me know, firstly, that you can hear me okay, because it'd be really ridiculous if I'm sitting here talking and you can't actually hear what's going on. So I know there's a few of you jumping on now. So yeah, if I can just get something coming through from any of you at all to let me know. Just gonna type something in the comments here. Oh, fantastic. Thanks, Tara. Amazing. All right, I will get started. Apologies again for jumping on a little bit later than what I normally would. And first time for everything, trying this now on my computer. So thank you so much for being here. Firstly, I know a few of you are here that were just in my boxing and let's call it a dance class that we just did at Redhead Wellness. It was a beautiful, beautiful share of energy tonight, everyone. Thank you so much for being a part of that. I so appreciate it. And tonight we really will be discussing energy, of course. We're going to be, of course, discussing what it feels like to listen to our body. And I emphasize the word feels because our bodies are our biggest teachers. So welcome guys, if you're jumping on, thank you very much. Just give me a little shout out in the comment if you're here, just so that I know who's here. Even if it's a wave or a thumbs up or not okay, you can send any emoji, just letting me know that you're here. Firstly, thank you for taking the time out for yourselves to be here and to give back to yourself, because that's what it is. It's this self-care that is really, really difficult to do these days. You'll have to forgive me if I'm looking all over the shop. I'm not used to looking at the computer. I'm used to looking into the phone. So bear with me. But this is something that I am busting to talk about, and I'm going to do my best to fit this into an hour because everything revolves around our energy, you know, our vibration, the way that we go about our life. And if we are lacking energy, of course, thanks, Tara. If we're lacking energy, we're going to feel pretty shitty. We're going to feel pretty tired. We're going to feel pretty exhausted. And we're going to feel pretty low. And that's not really going to do anything for the way we feel about ourselves or our thoughts. So tonight we're going to be very much diving into a few things. And I really want to stem this conversation around two big things. And one is our feeling in our heart when we experience things like thoughts and feelings, and then what happens on a somatic level. Okay, so what can we experience in our bodies when we experience something that hits our stuff? And I'm going to dive into what our stuff is quite deeply. And the second thing is, of course, our thoughts. So Michael Singer says, what ends up in your mind as a thought starts from a vibration in your heart. Now, the last time that I was in the collective, I discussed this as well. We were speaking about samskaras and samskaras being impressions. Hello, Mum. Thank you for jumping on. I appreciate you. These samskaras that are just impressions that have generally been left since childhood. And these create sort of rocks in our pool or our pond, so to speak, and they create vibrations and energy has to move through. And the more rocks we have, so the more samskaras, impressions, the more challenging it is for energy to flow through, and therefore we're going to find that we have less energy and we feel really flat and low, and then we're going to have these physical reactions and responses in our body. Before we get started onto anything, I'm going to invite you into a body awareness meditation. Now, some of you might like to, I'm going to suggest to stand up, but you're welcome to lie on your back and bend your knees, and Mum, of course, with your hip. Maybe you'd like to sit down, whatever works. We're just going to do some body awareness. So we're going to find somewhere, and so I'm going to stand up, because when we stand, we can actually feel what's going on with the body. I'm not used to this view, so just bear with me as I find somewhere that you can see me. I might have to do this. There we go. So wherever you are, whether or not you're lying down onto your back or whether or not you're standing, I want you to just kind of take a moment to bring your feet underneath your hips, right? And again, if you're sitting down, just notice your feet flat on the floor. And if you're lying down, notice your, of course, feet flat on the floor. And then I want you to visualize your body as a skeleton. All right, so wherever you are, let it kind of just be loose. And we're just going to take 5 breaths. So I'm going to invite you to close down your eyes wherever you are. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Just stay exactly as you are. Breathe in. And breathe out. And breathe in. And breathe out. I want you to keep your eyes closed, and if you're standing, stay standing. If you're seated, stay seated. And I want you to draw your attention to your feet. And I want you to just gently wriggle your toes. And I want you to notice if there's any resistance there. So notice if when you wriggle your toes, it feels tight, or there's a lot of tension or stiffness or rigidity. And just pay attention. Notice what it feels like to put your whole energy into your toes and your feet and wriggle them. How do they move? Are they moving freely, or do they feel like they're stuck? I want you now to clench your toes and then spread them. Clench your toes and spread them. Clench them and spread them. And again, just pay attention to how that feels. So your eyes are closed wherever you are. And without sort of judging or criticizing, however that was for you, start to move up your body now to your knees. And I want you to really send your energy to your knees, and I want you to tune in as to how they feel right now in this moment. Whether you're standing or you're sitting, is there any pain or is there any tension? You know, maybe you'd like to move your knees a little bit and just notice how that feels in and around the joint. So just paying attention to that area of your knees, and again, noticing if they feel stuck or do they move well. Without judging the area, just pay attention and just document how they feel. So again, letting that go with the knees and moving up the legs. And I want you to come to the space in the hips. And I want you to listen in. How do your hips feel in this moment? Maybe you wriggle your hips a little bit if you're standing. Maybe you move to each butt cheek if you're sitting down, and just notice how they feel. Do they feel tight? Do they feel locked up? Do they feel rigid? Do they move well? And without actually judging them, can you actually be the witness and step away from the hips like you're observing them and just simply notice? Ask the question, how are you guys doing today? From your hips, I want you to move up to the space of your belly and also your digestion, all the organs that are involved in that. And even maybe placing your hands on your belly. And I want you to ask the question, how do you feel today? How is my digestion? Do I feel bloated? Are things moving well? Do I feel tight? Do I feel locked up? Without judging, just pay attention. Bring your hands up a little further and feel the space in your rib cage now. And I want you to take a full breath in and a full breath out. As you inhale, notice the spread of the rib cage up and out like a balloon. And as you exhale, feel the compression, feel the rib cage draw together. Do that one more time. Breathe in and breathe out. And then just notice, how did that feel? Did your breath feel tight? Was it awkward? Was it strained? And however it was okay. Don't judge it, just notice. Place your hands on your heart space, whether you're standing or sitting or lying down. And I want you to notice what you feel. What does it feel like to place your hands on your heart? Is there a sense of caving in here as the shoulders rolling inwards, or can you hold your hands on your heart and feel open and vulnerable? Does it feel warm? Does it feel cold? Again, there's no right or wrong. Or you just tune in. What does your heart feel like in this moment? Then draw your energy up into your shoulders, and I want you to take a huge breath in. And then I want you to let your shoulders drop down. Do that again. Inhale and exhale. Breathe in. Let the shoulders go. Exhale. Lastly, move your energy and attention to your face. And I want you to take a moment to squeeze your face really, really tight, like into a little ball. I'm going to hold for 5. So scrunch up your face and then completely let it go. Soften your jaw, your lips, the space between your eyebrows, and feel like your skin melts either side of your cheekbones. Take a breath in and a breath out. And then just spend 5 breaths either standing or sitting wherever you are, breathing in the words, I allow myself to feel open. I choose to let go of any resistance to that. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Now breathe in with a sense of gratitude and appreciation. Breathe out. Let go of any resistance to that. And then final breath in, fill up the biggest breath you've taken yet. And then open the mouth and exhale. And if you are standing, just gently open your eyes. And just take a moment to come to find somewhere comfortable. And I just want you to notice how you feel. And if you do have any pen or paper with you, you might want to journal how that felt in your body. But if you don't, I just want you to notice and log any areas there that you might have found that were tight or tense. Any areas that feel locked up, right? And if there was any areas like that, say whether it might have been our lower back or our hips or our knees or our jaw or our face or particularly our shoulders, right? And I'm going to discuss this a little bit more. I want you to actually say the words thank you to those parts of your body instead of resisting them or getting frustrated or angry or pissed off with them. So I want you to just take a moment now to honor any parts in your body that you felt were tense or tight or aggravated. And I want you to just take a moment to thank those parts of your body for showing up. When we thank these areas and we are like, okay, thank you, lower back. Yes, you're really tight today. I feel you. What we're actually doing is honoring the fact that there is something going on there in our body, and we need to look after it. We need to nurture it. Um, and that can, of course, be from plenty of reasons. But if we ignore what's going on, or if we give it too much energy, what's going to happen is we're going to just get more aggravated and more frustrated and more pissed off with it. So take a moment to honor those areas that are tight, that might need your attention a little bit more in a loving and compassionate way. And then in your own time over the next week or two, start to really give back to those areas. So that might just be working with a little bit of yin yoga, or a little bit of really nice hip mobility and movement, or it might simply be slowing down, you know. And this is sort of what we're going to discuss. So if you do have anything, I want you to just write down, or even share, like on the comments here. If you had any tight areas, if you want to just write that down. Again, it's taking ownership and just going, yeah, cool, this was tight, or I felt this. And every time we own up to something, we can kind of just let that energy go, we let it out. So yeah, feel free to just share in the comments if there was anywhere there that did feel tight or aggressive in your body, and just write it down. And again, don't judge it, don't criticize it. It simply is what it is. And we just allow it to be there. You know, the words, I see you, I feel you, I hear you. How do I need to serve you? What can I do to help you? Cool. So I'm going to share a lot tonight from this book, The Untethered Soul. Those of you who've been in my yin classes and any yoga classes, really, I've been working out of this book a lot. So I wanted to start with this first passage. There's 3 passages that I'm going to read from this tonight. This is from Michael Singer. And this first passage is on the mind. So a lot of what goes on in our physical body, it's going to be our first point of recognition. Okay, so when things outside of us hit our stuff, and I'm going to talk about what our stuff is, we experience what's called a physiological response. All right, we tense up, we tighten, we lock up. And it's generally because something is hitting our heart. So this conversation tonight will be very much talking about our heart space and learning to understand our heart, because it is our heart, again, that is going to generate a vibration that is going to end up in our mind. So thoughts and feelings stem from here, not from here. Feelings and emotions, my bad, stem from here. They end up as a thought. Energy must travel upwards. It ends up as a thought in our heads. We don't have a feeling or an emotion, we feel it here. We feel it in our heart. So jealousy, anger, any kind of like doubt or fear or shame or guilt, we feel that here. We contract. Okay, so we close our hearts. We do this, right? And we get small. You'll see it when we're lacking in confidence. We do this. So it's really important to start to understand this mind and heart connection. And this is where I'd like to start with this first passage from Michael Singer. He says, the truth is everything will be okay as soon as you are okay with everything. And that's the only time everything will be okay. By allowing ourselves to watch the mind, you'll notice that it is engaged in the process of trying to make everything okay. Consciously remember that this is not what you want to do, and then gently disengage. Do not fight your mind. Don't ever fight your mind. You'll never ever win. It will either beat you now, or you'll suppress it, push it down, and it will come back and it will beat you later. Instead of fighting the mind, just don't participate in it. When you see the mind telling you how to fix the world and everyone in it in order to suit you, just don't listen. The key is to be quiet. It's not that your mind has to be quiet, you need to be quiet. You, the one inside watching the neurotic mind. Just relax. You will then naturally fall behind the mind because you've always been there. You become the watcher, the observer of the thought. You are not the thinking mind. You are aware of the thinking mind. You are the consciousness that is behind the mind and behind the thoughts. So the minute you stop putting your whole heart and soul into the mind as if it is your protector, you'll find yourself behind the mind just simply watching it. And you become an observer and it becomes easy. That's how you know about your thoughts, right? You are in there watching them. They are not you. Eventually, you'll be able just to sit in there quietly and consciously watch the mind. So when we become aware, right, of these thoughts, right, what we have is a physiological response. All right. So I just wanted to ask you guys here, like when we have these thoughts or we have these emotions and feelings in our heart space, what are some of the things that you guys notice in your body? Say when you come into a situation, you might walk into a party and you might see an X there. What is something physical that then happens in your body? You might work into your workplace, right? And you have to do a presentation. And you've got a boss there that, shoots you down every time you do a presentation. Is there anything that you guys can share in the comments? What actually happens to your physical body? What do you feel? Maybe you feel sick in the stomach. Maybe you get tight and tense. Maybe you feel like you want to vomit. Maybe you feel like you clench up. So if there's anything there that you guys want to share, just pop it in the comments for a second. Physiologically, what happens when you get put in a situation and you start to feel like you've got to sort of people please, or there's this what's the word I'm looking for here? There is a almost a thing to perform, like to perfect, to be liked, right? And we are faced with what's called resistance. So as you're sort of thinking about this, he goes on to say that when we start to see this stuff going on inside, all right, these reactions, these emotions, and these feelings, okay, they're going to hit our stuff, and the stuff being our samskaras. And I'm about to talk about what our samskaras are again. So when the things outside of us come in, somebody says something and it hits our stuff and it creates an emotion and a feeling, we then get a physiological response, okay? So when you start to see this stuff going on inside, choose to just relax your shoulders, relax your heart, and fall back behind it. Allow yourself not to react. That is a choice. Do not touch it. Do not get involved in it. And do not try to stop it. Simply be aware that you are seeing it. And that's how you get out. You simply choose to let go. Begin this journey to freedom by regularly reminding yourself to watch the psyche. Be aware of how you respond, right? This will keep you from getting lost in it. The addiction to the personal mind is a major one. You must set up a method to remind yourself to watch. So here are some simple awareness practices that only take a second to do, yet help you stay centered behind the mind. So every time you get in your car, as you're settling into the seat, just stop. Take a moment to remember that you are spinning on a planet in the middle of empty space. Then remind yourself that you are not going to get involved in your own melodrama. That is a choice. So before you get out of your car, you do the same thing. And if you really want to stay centered, you can also do this before you pick up the phone, before you pick up your kids, before you answer a door, before you respond. You don't have to change anything. Just be there noticing that you notice. So check out what's going on, right? Somatically. Your heart, it feels like it closes, it tenses up. You can actually feel the contraction going on. Your shoulders roll inwards. Your fists might clench it. You might start to feel small, right? You might start to feel anxious, sweaty, right? You'll feel a physiological response. The fight or flight response might go up, right? This is the moment where we become aware of what our body is trying to say to us, to say, hey, are you going to respond the same way? Or can we interrupt that pattern and respond differently? Okay. So check these parts out when the mind has this reaction into the body, where you can just take inventory and listen and step behind it. So there is never a time when you're not totally aware. There is no effort. There's no doing anything. You're just there, aware that the thoughts and emotions are being created around you. Somebody's pushing your button, something is creating this reaction, and you just allow it to unfold exactly as it is. So I'm sharing a lot from his book tonight because it's so relevant and it's just so easy to understand on every single level. There's no right or wrong. I'm not saying his way is a right or wrong way. We all take this stuff as it is, but we all have a body. Every single one of us watching us this tonight, we all have a body and we all react when our buttons are pushed. So I'm going to now recap on what I spoke about last session when I was here, and that is on these things called samskaras. And I'm going to do my best to bring this into a very easy to understand way, so that we can gain this understanding of why the people, things, environment, situations will trigger us, and then we get this closing of the heart and we get a reaction in our body. Okay, so when we have, of course, an opening and a closing of our heart space, okay, so as I said, this is very much focused around the heart because this is where it all stems from. Now, this is not our physical heart, this is our energetic heart as such, so to speak. So when we're talking about our heart chakra, it is the energy and the vibration from that. So we feel when our hearts are open, okay, what are we going to feel? We're going to feel love, we're going to feel acceptance, we're going to have high self-worth, we're going to feel like we're buzzing, have huge energy. This is our natural state, may I remind you, right? We're meant to buzz, we're meant to have this high vibe all the time. When our heart is closed, we're going to feel like we lack energy, we're going to feel tired, lethargic, depressed, anxious, stressed all the time. We're going to be busy all the time. We're going to feel like we are blaming everything around us for the situation. We're going to be looking for an external answer to fix something internal that's going on. Okay, so a samskara is simply an impression that has been created. Oh, hey, Kerry, thank you for jumping on. Good to see you here. A samskara is simply an impression that has been created, generally a lot of time from our childhood. Now, when I speak on the body image collective that I did a few weeks ago, I talked about my samskara around my eating disorders, which was when I was 6 years old. I had in the playground, somebody said to me, "You're not pretty enough to be on our team." That created a huge divot, right, in my mind, because I was like, oh shit, I never knew I wasn't pretty enough. Nobody's ever told me that before. I didn't know that about myself, and I chose to believe it. So that created an impression deep, deep, deep down in my heart where I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm not good enough, right? These samskaras, and I guarantee you every single person in this world has been through stuff and like had things thrown at them along the way that have created these deep divots, right? And when we get these samskaras, these impressions, that created this place in my heart where I started to feel not enough. And because I didn't know how to heal it at the time, what I tried to do was people please, and I tried to be the best at what I could do. I tried to make everyone like me, and nothing that I did was ever enough in my own eyes. So I constantly spent the rest of my 25 years from there on in trying to be the best, and I was always searching for something based on that samskara, that impression. So I hope that made sense. In that, is I always like to use myself an example because that's where I guess my own teachings and learnings have come from, and I'm still moving through, as we all do in life. Like we find these blockages, these samskaras that pop up if they're not seen, felt, and heard. So to also talk about this samskara, to give you an understanding of how this works, I just went and taught a boxing and movement class, right? So I drove there. I passed trees. I passed signs. I passed cars, but I didn't notice any of them, right? So basically, Yeah, thank you, Mum. Of course, but that's in your eyes. So we always are seeing life through our own eyes, not anybody else's. And it was myself that made that personal, 100%. It was nothing to do with anybody else. I know that I'm more than enough now, but it took me over 25 years to figure that out. But it's exactly that. This was my teaching, and that was my gift as a 6-year-old to hear those words, because now I wouldn't be doing what I would be doing now. So we have said all these things pass through us, right? We see the cars, we see the trees, but I can guarantee you I couldn't tell you what any of them were or what they look like. I know I passed them. I drove to Redhead Wellness Centre and I taught, but I allowed them to go through me. Okay. So what that means is that I was keeping myself very open in that sense. All these things passed through me and I didn't cling to it and I didn't resist it. I didn't push it away. Okay. So basically what happened when I heard those words when I was 6, everything else was passing through me. We were having fun in the playground, right? Not attaching to anything. And then these words came through and I gripped onto that and I clung to it. And I went, oh my goodness, okay. And I started to think about, okay, what do I need to do to be better? How can I get these people to like me? Oh God, if I could have said that, it would be different. And what actually happened from that moment is that I then created, my thoughts were wrapped around this moment, and I obviously started to miss out on what was happening in the next moment. So I then started to push that away. I pushed it down, deep, deep, deep down in my lower chakras, because I'm like, I don't want to feel that because that hurts my heart. Okay. So when we experience and go through these same scars, they can happen anywhere. So it can happen from childhood or all the way up into our workplace. Somebody may say something in our workplace, or a family member may say something to us, and it really hurts our heart. And then we don't want to feel it because we're scared of that feeling in our heart because it's painful. Uh, the cure for the pain is in the pain. Rumi says the cure for the pain is in the pain. And we have to feel to heal. So over time, all of these samskaras, and there's a lot of them, I certainly had a lot of them, I still have a lot of them, they will store deep down in our deep chakras, in our energy, until they are triggered. Okay, so I hope that has allowed you to understand what a samskara is. It is something we, in basic terms, it's the impression that is creating impression on our heart, where we're like, I don't want to feel that again. We push it away, we resist, or we cling to it. Oh, that was such a great experience. I really want to date a person like that again. They were so perfect. And I really would love to go back to that. We keep clinging on to this experience. Okay. So you've got the clinging and you've got the resisting. Both of them are going to take you out of the present moment. Cool. So both of those samskaras, they are going to create what's called blockages in our system. Now, if you imagine a pot, like what's it called? A waterfall. And in the waterfall, there are ponds. The samskaras are like rocks and twigs and sticks and debris, and anything else that you'll find in a waterfall and a pond that blocks the flow of the water. Okay, so if we are having a lot of these samskaras, these blocks that we have not dealt with from childhood, so the things that people have said or the things that we're trying to run or numb from, right? We all know what that means. We don't want to feel it, it gets too tight, so we either spend our time being busy, we spend our time over exercising, we spend our time on food addictions, or smoking or drinking or taking drugs or excessive shopping or constantly being busy, whatever that might be. We do that because we don't want to be quiet, because when we're quiet, those samskaras are going to come up. So when we have all those rocks in the pool, the energy flow, as I said, energy has to flow up. It's going to be very, very difficult to have a smooth and a fluid energy flow. So just like thousands of rocks in the pool, in the waterfall, it's going to create ripples and it's going to create ebbs and flows. The water is still going to flow, but it's going to be messy and it's going to be all over the shop. The same is with our body. When we have these samskaras, these blockages, from what somebody said when we were 6 to what happened when we were a teenager, to then what happened when we were in work, and then somebody said something at the gym, and we take all this on board and we don't clear it out, it's going to create what? It's going to have a somatic response in our body. We're going to feel tired. We're going to get bloated. We're going to feel stressed. We're going to, I've lost my hair before. Not I have shaved it before, but I actually started losing my hair. in my mid 30s, like when I was about 33, because I was so anxious and stressed and I had all these blockages in my system. I had no energy, I was tired all the time. These are all signs that something is going on. This is how we need to listen to our body. So if we have these things that are going on, like anything I just mentioned there, even things like down to our skin, I know that when I break out, I know that I'm going through a stressful period, or there's stuff going on underneath that's making my skin break out, or whatever it might be. Bloating is another one for me. When I'm stressed, I get quite bloated. I hold it in my belly area, and I know that also when I start to experience back pain, I'm going through either financial stress or something emotional. We start to learn to tune in to listen. So I hope that made sense on the samskaras. I am actually very much writing about that in my book, What's Your Language? It's really important we understand these. And this now is where this talk, as I said, it's so important to be open and honest with ourselves and to notice if we're resisting anything. And that moment of resistance, you'll feel it. You'll be like, why is she saying that? It's pissing me off. That might be an opportunity for you to tune in and be like, oh, why am I resisting that? Why is that so hard? And again, that we need to experience that pain and that feeling of our heart space coming up and going, hey, I need you to listen to me to be able to heal it. So briefly, before we go into the next session, these samskaras, okay, they are their energy. Michael Singer describes it. Here we go. The samskara, energy of an event revisited that forms a circular pattern inside of us. It stores in our system, right, somewhere in our bodies, and we'll usually have a manifestation of that in and around our bodies, be that whether it be around our pelvis, our spine, our back, our up here, right, tighten our shoulders, closing of the heart space, tense in the traps. It stores in our system and it runs our life. So what we then do, if these samskaras are not dealt with, we try to match our external environment, okay, the people that are in our life, the things we do, the things we eat, the things we say, who we hang around with, to be safe, so that it doesn't stimulate the samskara, okay? So what we're trying to do is to look, again, I mentioned it before, we're trying to look for things outside of us to heal what's going on inside of us. And you cannot fix an inner problem with an external solution. All right. So what I wanted to go with here is just this understanding, right? I want us to just take a moment here, and I'm just going to sort of go through a few things. So if we are looking to, if these samskaras come up, because things outside of us will trigger us. So somebody might say something and we'll get pissed off and angry, or we have a situation at work that we try to avoid because it's uncomfortable, because it reminds us of something that happened 10 years ago. Or we are avoiding going to a party because our ex-fiance might be there and it could be awkward. These things are coming up. What we are going to try and do is, of course, replace that with something. Okay, so if we find, and I mentioned in the post that I put before, if we find that we are constantly doing, right, we humans in the world we're in today, we find it really difficult to be by ourselves. And there's, we have these situations that come up, and somebody might say something and we're like, oh, that feels really, really painful. So what do? We go shopping, or we reach for a glass of red wine, or we smoke, or whatever it might be. So we might go to the gym and excessively exercise, or we might just be constantly finding something to do so that we don't have to feel. Does that make sense? Give me a yes or a no in the comments if I'm making sense, guys. I just want to know that that's all going down okay and I'm making sense. So again, just sort of repeating that. If we are like busy all the time, right? If we are filling that space, shopping, whatever it might be, any stimulant, alcohol, drugs, sex, whatever it might be, what is it that we are unwilling to feel? Okay, there is something there that is trying to come up, that circular energy that just keeps going round and round. So energy is always moving, all right, but if it is blocked and pushed down, it's going to go around and round in circles. Also, oh hey Ayla, thanks honey. It's going to go round and round in circles until, right, something in the external world, maybe you see a car, right, that looks like your ex-boyfriend's car and he cheated on you, and you'll see a car that looks exactly the same as his, and what you'll feel is straight away this, right? Your heart will start to close and you'll feel angry, and you might be with your family or whatever, it might be 10 years down the track. But this memory, this impression of a samskara is going to have a physiological response because you haven't dealt with it. So this is the thing, these things are dying to come up to be felt, and the heart is like an orchestra. It allows us to feel everything from the highest of highs to grief, sadness, the loss of a loved one. It allows us to feel all this. But a lot of the time, we don't let ourselves feel this because it feels really uncomfortable to be down here. All right, and we feel really locked up and it's not pleasant being down there. So we push it away. We want to come back up to this space. So we pretend that we're feeling good, or we pretend that we're okay, or we just don't deal with what it feels like to be there or be okay with it. What we need to understand is that all feelings and emotions along the scale are just experiences, and they are all there to be felt, to be heard, to be experienced, and to be moved through with compassion and kindness. Cool. So when we are quiet, okay, when we pause, why is that so hard? You know, why do you think they put people in solitary confinement, right? To that is one of the hardest things to do. If you're not ready for that, then to be silent, what that's going to do, these samskaras, they're not going to get triggered by anything external because there's nothing to trigger them. What's going to happen is that you have to be quiet, and then you're going to have to deal with them yourself. So Michael Singer says this quote also, I love it. He says, when you are left in the silence of your mind, the stuff, the samskaras inside of you starts coming up. Nothing can distract you, and you start living in the chaos of all the stuff you've been avoiding and carrying inside of you. So we, of course, have a choice, right? So again, coming back to this feeling and sensation in the body, if we find that we are, you know, and again, feel free to throw a few at me here, like in the comments. Maybe you feel tense all the time, or your body feels tight, your body feels rigid, right? Maybe you noticed it when we did that little awareness meditation at the start. Maybe you felt your toes or your knees or your hips feel rigid. We should be fluid. Maybe you're under constant stress all the time. You feel very reactive, right? You're biting back all the time, or you're throwing your finger up at the person who cut you off. That's nothing to do with them. That's to do with you. That's what's going on in your own mind, right? Maybe you're bloating all the time or carrying excess weight and you can't shake it. Maybe you've got inflammation or sickness or dis-ease that keeps coming back in your body and it's recurring and it's in a certain area. Maybe that has to do with a certain energy that is blocked and causing that and allowing that to come up. And I'm not even going to go into the chakras tonight. It's a whole nother story. But we need to listen to these things, you know. Maybe we just have a lack of self-care. We don't give a shit about how we look or what we're doing or what food we put in our mouth. We're just like unmindfully just doing. We wake up every day and it's like Groundhog Day. That is not the way it is. We are meant to buzz and be like vibrant and energetic, and like life is all an experience. The good, the bad, the downs, the ups, the beautiful, the ugly, all of it is exactly the same. It's the things we cling to along the way that are going to cause these ripples in our energy. All right, so it's really, really important for us to start to notice this on a somatic level. And I was speaking to this today. I get to go and share. I so love it. I'm so excited about it too, with my year nines at Hunter Valley Grammar School. And we've been talking about how to understand the heart and to listen, and that our heart is the creator of our thoughts. Okay, so the big reason I'm hanging around the heart space today is because we have 60,000 thoughts a day, right? We want those thoughts to be somewhat positive and we want them to be lifting us up. And when we understand that everything ends up here, it stems from here, we get to ask the question, okay, well, what's going on in my heart today? Obviously something's not right. I don't feel the way I should about myself. I'm putting myself down. I'm constantly comparing, or I'm constantly worrying about what others think, or I'm people pleasing. And that's going to take freaking energy, right? So it's a beautiful teacher for us when we have thoughts that are negative, or thoughts of comparison and judgment and self sabotage or guilt or blame or shame, to actually ask ourselves the question, oh, hey, heart, what is it that I need today? How can I be kind to you? So, of course, our energy, and I know I started a little bit late, so I'm going to go to about 7:40, everyone. Yeah, thank you, Kerry. Totally. It's these 100%. We just have to be honest with the things that we're excessively doing. For myself, and thanks for sharing as well, Kerry. I very much got stuck into over exercising. I got very much stuck into overspending and shopping to try and fill a gap. I would get to the shops and then I'd come home, and that gap would be empty again. So it's like somebody, and I used to be the same. I used to move around a lot. I used to be very much a bit of a gypsy. My mum will tell you that. But I was moving to try and find happiness. So if we are constantly looking for something, we'll always be searching, I always say that. But we need to also create the space, and we need to be still. So there's a beautiful exercise to do, and I know that some of you don't have paper, but I want you to take a moment. Well, I should do this now. Let's just start here. So I want you to just close your eyes for a moment. And I want you to think that if we were sort of just being in this space and in the world we're in today, and say we just have it offered to us from God, universe, source, whoever your higher source is up there, whoever you pray to, whoever you sort of meditate with, whatever. Like, imagine that God comes down as such, so to speak, and says, you know what, you can have every single thing you want. You can have 10 things here, and I want you to write them down. What is it that you are looking for? What are the things you want? And I want you just to pay attention to that. Like, what would that be? Just spend a few moments just in that thought. So anything in the world, like you could go anywhere in the world, you could live anywhere in the world. I want you just to write this down. Don't think about it too much. You don't have to share it on the live. You can if you want to, but you don't have to. I just want you to think on that. So say if we had those 10 things or so, and just on a level, we might have written down like a few things. I might have written down things like a house in the Bahamas. We might have, like, for myself, probably like living in Bali for a while. It might have been a physical thing. It might have been to look a certain way. It might have been a monetary thing, or it might have been a career. It might be something like a wedding. It might be an engagement. It might be to like a career-based thing, or to be this high up the ladder. Um, None of that is ever going to bring us what we want. So if we keep looking for something external to heal something we have stored inside of us, then we're never ever going to be happy. So it's this sense when let's talk about a wedding, for example. It's this sense that when we have the wedding, we're going to be happy. It's this sense that when I have the perfect body, I'm going to be happy. This sense that when I make $1 million, I'm going to be happy. It's a sense that when I have a career that is here and in this rung of the ladder, I'm going to be happy. A sense that when I have a boyfriend, I'm going to be happy. But in reality, it's not those things that are going to make you happy. It's the experience that you're looking for there that's going to be, you're thinking that you're going to have the wedding, and it's the experience of the wedding that's going to bring you that joy. But at the end of the day, when you have the wedding, what's next? So at the end of the day, when you have the $1 million, What's next? And at the end of the day, when you have the career and you're up the ladder, what's next? We're always going to be looking for something, okay? So this is important to understand, because if we're trying to heal this samskara, this place in our heart that is asking for our attention, and it is asking for you to be okay with it, to let it out, to release it as it is. What we're really looking for, if say God came down and asked us that list, is, a sense of vitality, a sense of joy, a sense of contentment, a sense of just pure energy, pure love, compassion, this acceptance. And those things are the things that are going to help your energy flow more freely. And those things are the ones that, thank you, Carrie, thank you, Mum. Those things are the things that are going to allow the body to be in a more harmonious state, right, with ourselves. We're going to feel like we have more softness. We're going to feel like we have a moment to pause, to react. Does that make sense? So that we're not constantly looking for something outside of us, again, to work with that inner state. So I just want to take one more reading from the Untethered Soul here. And it's again understanding this place of the heart and this place of pain. And of course, pain is, we're going to feel pain in our heart space. Okay, that's where we feel it generally. And it's going to create a thought. So when we understand our pain and we understand that it will come up for us to acknowledge it rather than push it back down, the more we push down the pain that wants to come up, these samskaras, these triggers, the things outside of us that are going to push these buttons, we're going to constantly create this manifestation of stuff in our body that will come out as what I mentioned before: inflammation, sickness, dis-ease, things going on with our body that we physically see. Okay, so he says the heart is where pain comes from, and this is why you feel so many disturbances as you go through your day. You have this core of pain deep in your heart. Personality traits and behavior patterns are all about avoiding the pain. You avoid it by keeping your weight a certain way, wearing certain clothes, talking a certain way, people pleasing, and choosing a certain hairstyle. Everything you do is about the avoidance of this pain. If you want to validate this, just see what happens if someone mentions your weight or criticizes your clothes or your hair. You feel pain. Every time you do something in the name of avoiding pain, that something becomes a link that holds the potential for the pain you're avoiding. If you do not want to deal with the pain at its core, then what do you do to avoid it had better work. If you are hiding yourself in a busy social life, spending lots of money, drinking loads of alcohol, smoking cigarettes, constantly running from the things that want to come up, then anything anyone does that challenges your self-esteem, such as not inviting you to an event, will cause you to feel the pain. Let's say you call a friend to go see a movie and they say they're busy. Some people feel hurt by that. You will feel the pain if the reason you called them was the avoidance of pain. Let's say you go outside and you call your dog, "Hey Spot, come here," and he doesn't come. If the reason you called Spot was to feed him, you'd just put down the bowl and he'd let him eat it and you wouldn't be worried about it. But if you called Spot because you had a hard day and Spot didn't come, you'd feel pain. Even the dog doesn't like me. Why would there be heartfelt pain in the dog not coming? Why would there be pain in a friend saying they're going someplace else and they can't go to the movie today? How does that generate pain? It is because deep inside there is pain that you have not processed. Your attempt to avoid this pain has created layer upon layer of sensitivities and samskaras that are all linked to the hidden pain. So it's deep stuff, right? It's really deep stuff, but it's also so important to just understand it from a level of like, okay, it is the way it is and it's okay. It's not to be pushed back down. It's not to be blocked again. In this conditioning in the world we're in, especially in males as well, in older adults, there's this, what's it called? This model as such, so to speak, of we have to be strong and hold it together. And even even when I was growing up, there's that saying, "Big girls don't cry." Be tough, and the males, they have to hold up the fort. So when things come up, and especially in males, it's just like, I'm okay. We don't deal with it because the only thing is we don't understand how to understand our hearts, and that it is okay to feel what comes up so that we process it. Yes, it's going to feel painful for a little while, but it's going to be more painful to hang on to it for the rest of your life, and then get to, say, the age of 90 and go, you know what, fuck, I wish I dealt with this, because it comes up and we don't know why. And then that's going to be that constant battle of trying to deal with this. So, Ayla, this is, it's so cool. It's The Untethered Soul by Michael Singer. But he just puts things in such a raw and honest way. But I just hope that I'm going to wrap this up now. There's one more passage that I want to share from Michael Singer, which is relating to this. But understand that the pain we have, right, is we all have it. Not any of us are exempt. We've all been through shit. Every single one of us has been through something. 100%. We are no different. We also, 100%, Kerry. And that's exactly it. We so need to know how to be quiet within. And when we first start to be quiet, what happens is we want to run from it because the stuff starts coming up. So maybe in your practice over the next couple of weeks or so is to just see if you can sit with yourself, just breathing, even for 5 minutes, and grab a journal. And when things come up, write it down, right? Don't judge it, don't criticize it, just write it down. And then when you write it down, you can look at it and go, you know what? Is this true for me anymore? Do I need to hang on to it anymore? And then what is it that my heart needs to move through it, right? It's so, so important to let these things come up, because we do not want to hang on to these rocks. If we hang on to these rocks in our pool, as I said, until we're older, we're going to have so many rocks in our pool because it's just going to create layers, layers and layers and layers. And then we're going to get to that point where we're old and we're feeling really locked up and angry at the world because we never dealt with them. So we have an opportunity, we have a choice. When they come up, we can either choose, right? We have two options. We can either choose to try and control life around us, the people we hang out with, the things we do, even our relationships, to a point where we're in this safe zone, okay? So we're not growing. Everything's exactly the same. We sit down, we do the same things every day. We watch TV at the same time every day. We're on our phones the same time every day. We eat the same time every day. But we don't talk about the things that are uncomfortable because that's going to push our buttons. We can choose to do that. We can choose to control our life to match our samskaras, okay? The things that have blocked us, or or we can, I am staying here, Kerry, 100%. I realized that my running from things was very much the things that I was running from, and I was trying to move to change it, to be better. And I'd always come back to hitting the same blocks. Or the second choice is, right, we can allow life to hit our stuff, because it's going to come in. Life's going to come in, it's going to hit our stuff. Someone's going to say something, it's going to hit our stuff. And when it does, we have a choice to go, you know what? That has nothing to do with me anymore. You let it come up, you let it feel it for a second. It's going to hurt, it's going to be painful, and then you choose to let it go. That means you are allowing your heart space to remain open. You will feel it when you close. Your shoulders will draw and you'll tense up. That is a feeling. It's a somatic response in your body. So the teaching here in tonight is, when you notice this, and I spoke to this about my year nines tonight, this afternoon, I'm like, guys, like, if I knew this when I was in year nine, like, we just, the trick is to remain open. You feel it, you do this, you'll tense up, you'll get small, you'll feel sick, something will happen. Say the words to yourself: I choose to remain open. Thank you for showing up. What do I need to do here? And you will remain open. Do it as many times as you need to in your day to help your body and your heart remain open so that you do not close. Oh, sorry, I love talking about this stuff. I just want to lastly share this last little passage. You might want to just close your eyes. We're going to wrap this up now over the next couple of minutes. I think I've shared everything that I want to share. Thanks, Carrie. So good that you're on here. Okay. So we have a choices to what we do from this point on, right? Sometimes we need to step outside of ourselves to again come into this perspective, and he says here, some perspective, walk outside on a clear night and just look up into the sky. We realize that we are just a drop in the ocean, right? Remember, everything that happens on around us has nothing to do with us unless we make it personal, like what I did in year one, right? I made it personal. That had nothing to do with me. It actually had something to do with the person that said it in our own world, right? So from that perspective, right, from looking out at the skies and just realizing we are just that tiny speck, do we really care what people think about our clothes, our hair, our car? Do we really need to feel embarrassed if we forget someone's name? How can you let these meaningless things cause pain? If you want out, if you want a free life, you had better not devote your life to avoiding physiological pain. You had better not spend your life worrying about whether people like you or whether you can impress people or people please. What kind of life is that? It is a life of pain and struggle, and it takes so much energy. You may not think that you feel pain that often, but you really do. To spend your life avoiding pain means it's always right behind you. You're running from it. At any point, you could slip and say the wrong thing, and so can someone else. And at any point, anything can happen and trigger you. So you end up devoting your life to the avoidance of pain to stay safe. One choice is to leave the pain inside and continue to struggle with the outside. The other choice is to decide that you don't want to spend your life avoiding the inner pain, you'd rather get rid of it. So, what would your life be like if it wasn't run by that pain and your samskaras? You would feel free, spacious, your body would feel energetic, vibrant, you'd buzz. You can walk around the world completely free, just having fun, being comfortable with whatever comes your way, right? It just simply is. You can actually live a life full of interesting experiences and just enjoy these experiences, whatever they are. In essence, you can simply live your life and experience what it's to be like on a planet that is spinning around in the middle of nowhere, right? Until we die. You must look inside yourself and determine that from now on, pain is not a problem. If you do not learn to be comfortable with it, you'll devote your life to avoiding it. If you feel insecurity, it's just a feeling. Feel it, let it be there, experience it on that octave of notes, right? You can handle a feeling. If you feel embarrassed, it's just a feeling, let it go. If you feel jealousy, if your heart burns, look at it objectively, ask what your heart needs, right? It's a thing that is just passing through your system, like the trees, the cars, the street signs, but it's up to us whether we cling or resist it. Okay? Don't be afraid of it. It cannot touch you unless you touch it. When you are comfortable with pain passing through you, you are free. The world will never be able to bother you again because the worst the world can do is hit the pain stored within you, right? It'll hit your samskaras. Let it come up. If you do not care, if you are no longer afraid of yourself, you are free. You'll then be able to walk through this world more vibrant and alive than ever before. Your physical body will feel well, you'll feel vibrant, you'll feel energetic, and you'll enjoy the experiences that come your way. You'll feel everything at a deeper level. You'll be able to have truly beautiful experiences rise up within you, eventually understanding there is an ocean of love behind all this fear and pain. Over time, you'll form an intensely personal relationship with this beautiful energy. It will replace the relationship you currently have with inner pain and disturbance, and now peace and love will run your life. When you pass beyond the layer of pain, you'll finally be free from the binds of the samskaras that run the life. Instead, you will run in. Michael Singer. Whew. So that was big. That was a big chat tonight. And it's something that I'm very grateful for you guys for jumping on. So thank you. It's just gone an hour now. So I will wrap this up. But I just wanted to firstly thank you for being open and honest and allowing the conversation to take place. It's hard. When these things come up, it's difficult. These things trigger us, they push our buttons, and we react. That moment of reaction, the first thing you are going to notice is a physical response, okay? And this is what this is all about. When you understand that you lock up, you close your heart, that is a reaction. You will feel it in your body. You then have a choice as to what you do from that moment on. And we've spoken about it before. The brain will go what it knows. The brain will go back to what it knows really, really well, okay? It's been practiced for years and years and years. It's exactly the same. It's a very strong synaptic connection of response and reactivity. Okay. Thanks, Ayla. So appreciate you jumping on, honey. Hopefully, I'll see you tomorrow. So, to interrupt the pattern, we have to then create a new synaptic connection, which is going to be hard because we're not used to it, to slowly grow that neurological pattern of more still mind and less response and less reactivity. So sometimes it can be really helpful just to choose to walk away, right? To not respond. Lao Tzu said, a wise man does not argue. There's no time for that. So again, choose where you put your energy, all right? It is all going to have a reaction in your physical body. So the more time you spend fighting things and pushing them away and resisting, or trying to prove to be right or wrong, or coming back to this state of just this spending time with these samskaras or these impressions, that's going to take up a hell of a lot of energy in your body, and you're going to feel it somatically in your body. So thank you, everyone. I'm going to leave it at that. I want your practice to be to listen to your body, all right? How is it that your body has responded? Are your shoulders forward? Are you tensing up? Or do you feel loose and fluid and open? And the more open you are, you'll notice the more beautiful energy will come to you. So gratitude, appreciation, even people in the street will just smile at you. You'll feel this beautiful connection to life, which is something that has just really, the last 6 months for me have just been insane. I wake up every morning and I'm so grateful to wake up. I'm so thankful to be here. I'm so appreciative of everything that comes up, because I used to push everything down not so long ago because it was painful and it hurt and I didn't know how to deal with it, and it'd come up and I'd be like, I'm just going to react and respond. And now allowing that and this process of going, it's okay for you to be there, has just made my life so much more easy, so much more calm, and I just feel so energetic every day, and I just love to share. So I'm so grateful to you all for jumping on. This is my heart space talking about this stuff, and I'm really getting through my book now, Watch Your Language, and diving into this kind of stuff so that we all can have an understanding, but also teach this onto our younger ones as well, so that when they have a response in their physical body, they can then do something about it as well. So namaste, everyone. Thanks everyone for jumping on. You guys are incredible. I appreciate you, and I don't know when I'll be back on. But yeah, any questions? If you have anything, fire them away. I will share in the comments this book. Again, a lot of those readings, of course, were from Michael Singer, The Untethered Soul. It's a beautiful. He just comes more from a scientific direction. Of course, he comes from a spiritual level as well, but there is no like, you take it as you take it. We all see things as we want to take it in that sense, but he does put it in a very good way. So thanks everyone. Thanks for jumping on. I appreciate you. Have a beautiful night, and I'll see you all later.